Hello, everyone. My name is Terlisa Gardley Brown, and I am the host of Real Talk with Terlisa, the real that you can feel. We can all agree that dating can be difficult. Been through so many days. Sometimes you're meeting people and you're talking to people. Do you ever stop and say, do I have crazy written on my forehead? It seems like we keep bumping into the liars, and I mean, they are sophisticated liars. These are liars that lie about where they work, how many kids they have, and their marital status. We're running into cheaters. We're running into foolish people, and you're like, man, what is really going on here? So you get to a point like enough is enough. I do not want to be bothered with anyone else. I just want to sit back and wait until my spouse comes. So there is no more playing games. There's no more players. There's no more dipping and dabbling. There's no more none of that. I'm going to be still until he or she comes. So finally, you meet that all in one. You meet the person that has your back. You meet the person that encourages. You meet the person that prays with you. You meet the person that you can have fun with. I mean, all of us have those particular hobbies that we just absolutely love. It could be football on Sundays. It could be wrestling on Friday nights. It could be the walks in the park. It could be the weekend rendezvous. Whatever it is, you finally have someone that really gets you. So now you're planning for your big day. It's like that I do day is around the corner and the reality starts to hit. Now you said I'm married, and now we're 6 months into this thing, and now we're really starting to understand what marriage is really about. Not only are we understanding that, but now we have our blended family. So our kids have become one. We have our blended families that are now becoming one. We are dealing with different things as marriages often do with the finances. You may have one person that decides to pay bills, and when they come in, you have another person saying, nah, I'm going to pay all of the bills on the 1st and the 15th of the month. We're also dealing with the aspect of sickness. Maybe you're finding out that your spouse is now dealing with high blood pressure. Someone is dealing with diabetes, or someone is having dialysis treatments. Now we're understanding that that concept of life and that concept of marriage is beyond the words of I do. That concept of marriage is really about for sickness and in health, for rich and for poor. But we're finding out even in this concept, there are so many people that are married but living single. We're finding that there are so many people that when the going gets rough, they get going. But see, they're not leaving the marriage per se. They still want to have their cake and eat it too. So they have become comfortable in living a lie, so to speak. So let's talk. When I talk about living a lie, I mean that they have now started to reside on the outside of the home. So they come and go as they so well please. Now, they haven't changed how they take care of the household. They have not changed how they manage the children. But what they have changed is their relationship with you. Somewhere along the line, there was a disagreement. Somewhere along the lines, there was something that you guys did not gel on. And instead of the lines of communication being open, they closed. Instead of the lines of communication being, let's sit down and try to work this out, someone decides that they no longer want any part of it at all. How do you deal when there's a family function and you know that you and that person must attend? And instead of you guys just being honest about where you are and seeking help from your family members, you find yourself in a position that you're going to fake it until you make it. So you guys even get together, you color coordinate like you used to. You go to this function hand in hand, wedding ring, wedding bands on, and you loving and you talking and you mingling to everybody. But as soon as you get in that car, that mask fall off, that ring come off, and now you guys are back to not speaking. Not only that, but someone deep down inside is just wishing for a moment of your time to tell them how much they miss you and how much they love you. But you have the other person on the other side that is so full of anger, so full of bitterness, so full of selfishness that they don't even want to talk to you. So whereas you're thinking you're going to come home and possibly sleep in the same room, they possibly come in the house, change their clothes, and walk right back out the door. None of us got married to live single. None of us decided to say, I do, to turn around and live in chaos or confusion where we're asking ourselves and questioning ourselves, where are we? Have you ever been so involved in a marriage and you've given all that you know to do, but your good wasn't good enough? Have you been so involved in marriage where you're trying to understand maybe you were the person that made the mistake and I'm trying to get things back on track, but that person will not receive me? Tonight, guys, let's be real about how we feel as we talk about married but living single. It always seems that because when once something is going wrong, you have another person that wants to run to the outside into the arms of someone else. And let me say this, cheating is one of the most selfish things that one can do, but it happens. And what ended up is you have a person that's lurking and waiting because the enemy does not like anything that represents unity, and he does not like anything that represents power. So as you start seeking for what you feel like you're not receiving at home, he has something that is tailor-made, specially designed with your name on it. And what happens is you sit down and you talk and you conversate with this person. They make you feel the oohs and the ahs, and you don't even realize that you just gave them the navigation system to your heart. Not realizing as you sit up and you badmouth your spouse that they're taking mental notes because they're going to do everything that she's not doing or he's not doing. They're going to go above and beyond and make sure that they are everything that you're not getting at home. So here you are, you find yourself in a compromising position. And not only do you find yourself in a compromising position, but you are emotionally attached. So much attached that now you're not even going home. Now the person that you married is looking for you, and you could care less about their time. You could care less about your family, and you could care less about your kids. You are so involved. So here it is, the person that you initially said I do to, your soulmate, your boo thing, the love of your life, the person that brought your ride or die, the person that has your back. Now you traded in your soulmate for a side piece. Imagine that. Now, not only have you traded in your soulmate for your side piece, you're going above and beyond to make he or she happy, and you've neglected everything that you love. Here it is, you're standing and you're looking in the mirror and you're kind of confused at how did you get to this point. But it's interesting how as people, we will make time and we could communicate with people on the outside. But the person that we've made that vow with, the person that we said to death do us part, the person that you said had your back in the beginning is the person that you neglect because you feel they don't get you anymore. You feel they don't understand, not really understanding that when life challenges happen, people change. Are we understanding and patient enough with our spouse to know that things change within 6 months? Things change within a year to 2 years and so much forth. See, most people nowadays, we're not getting married for the end result. We're not doing that. We're getting married for the right now. We're getting married for the feeling that it brings. We're getting married because it's cute to have someone else's last name. We're getting married because as a man, I'm tired of running the streets. We're getting married for the wrong things. So now as we're faced with these different challenges of talking about married but living single, you decided to kick your soulmate to the side and you're dealing with your side piece. You find out that you ain't the only person your side piece have. You find out that you're not the only person that they talking to. You try now understand why it is you can only call and go by on certain days and certain times of the week. So you feeling some type of way because you let your guard down for the outside instead of trying to fix what was inside. Why is it that you can never fix an internal problem with external solutions? We have to be so willing to go back to the root so that we can start bringing things together and that we can work together. But not only that, we're finding that when we talk about married but living single, the communication that we used to have has now come to that we're talking to each other, we're talking at each other, we're yelling at each other, and we're cursing each other out. Everything we said we were not going to be is everything that we have now become. Most of us grew up in households where we seen things we weren't supposed to see, and we made a vow. That'll never be me. We made a vow that I'm not going to get entangled in anything that represents that. And wouldn't you know that the very minute things don't go your way, everything you seen and everything you talked about, we become. Are we really understanding each other? Or is it just something for a temporary feel, a momentary satisfaction? Is it one of those things where we are really looking at the end all be all? Or are we just like, you know what, this is just going to last? And I've never lived in a society where divorce is always the very first answer. I'll just divorce them. I can get another one. I don't want to be with them no more. What happened to us really wanting to stay and fight for what's ours? Now, we'll fight for our kids, our grown kids at that. We'll fight for a job, some of us. We will fight if somebody cut us off in traffic, get in front of you at the grocery store. Baby, they're going to hit some words they ain't never heard before. But the very minute we talk about fighting for your spouse, some of us throw in the red towel. And you know why? See, here it is. We hear the thing is, I'll be single all my life. I'm never going to get married. I'm never going to do this. And it's not that you don't want to get married. It's just that we don't want to be hurt. It's a factor of who wants to put themselves in a position to be vulnerable. When we get married, that's what it is, vulnerability. You are placing yourself at the hands of someone else. You are surrendering yourself to this person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. Most of us. You have other people where there's a tug of war in your marriage because you still want to be completely independent with someone. You want to be completely selfish about your position in your marriage. And here's the thing. If it says two become one, how can it always be about you? We can't have a one-side marriage. We can't have a one-side love affair, because I'm going to say this. If you think that life is going to be always about you all the time, my dear heart, you're going to find yourself all by yourself. If you feel that everything needs to be your seal of approval and that your spouse can never make decisions, and then when they make decisions, you're second guessing them, you think that they're not capable, you're questioning them, you think they're not competent, you don't believe anything that they say when it comes down to business, tell me why. Is it because of the things that you may have experienced in your past life or with relationships, or is it just things that we need to overcome within ourselves? I didn't understand that marriage, so many times we are coming in with baggage from what we've seen as a kid. We're coming in with the things that we've experienced in other relationships. We're coming in with preconceived notions that we are not even able to put our arms around. We're so busy trying to compare our relationship and our marriages to people who behind closed doors are married but living single and ain't telling you. See, now's the time that we got to be real about what we feel, because our marriages are suffering. Divorces are going through the roof. Nobody is really staying together because everybody wants to do their own thing. When are we going to say enough is enough? When are we going to say, you know what, I am in this to the end? Do not allow a person on the outside to capture your attention so hard, so rough, and so mean that you get to the point that you don't want what you sacrificed for. Do you know the praying you did for the person that you have? Do you know the fasting you did for the person that you have? You gave a baby to this person, and now because they're not acting the way that you want them to act, you feel like there's a problem? We have to come to a point that it can't be about me all the time. And I can speak for myself. I was one of those type of people. I wanted what I wanted right now, and if you can't do it, it was somebody else that could. And my mentality and my attitude, I ended up dealing with people that really genuinely loved me, but because I was so selfish in my own right, I ended up losing a lot of great people until I had to wake up and say, you know what, I need to own what's happening in my life. I need to own what's happening in my relationship. I can't keep running. And most of us, when the going gets tough, we put on our track shoes, baby, and we running. We don't want to stay and we don't want to work it out only because hurt. We don't want to stay and work it out because of the pain. We don't want to stay and work it out because of the embarrassment and the shame that we've seen. How many of us have seen successful marriages? How many? How many have seen people that have stood the test of time? Not only that, how many of us know married couples that will sit down and actually tell you the problems and the things that they've had to overcome in their marriages and their relationships? Not many. Because everyone wants everything to be glamorous all the time. Everyone wants you to think that they got it going on all the time. Me and my spouse love each other 24/7. A lie. It is a lie. It is not true. So guys, we're going to take a small break and I will be right back in a moment.